Good evening, welcome to the August 4th Select Persons Meeting. Would you please welcome me in the flag salute? Okay, we have a motion to accept this week's warrants.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion to approve July 28th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, go on to announcements.
The Select Board will meet on Tuesday, August 11th at 7 p.m., and the Select Board will hold a public hearing for the Auxiliary Brewing Company's liquor license on Tuesday, August 11th at 6:30 p.m. The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, August 5th at 7 p.m., and the Select Board is looking for 2 new members to join the Budget Committee. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin at selectboardadmin@limerickma.org. The Select Board is looking for 1 individual to join the Appeals Board. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin. And the Select Board asks that you silence your cell phones during meetings in order to limit interference with microphones or discussions of agenda topics. As part of the hearing, a citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. For your convenience, complaint forms are readily available at the sign-in table.
Okay. Next, department reports, tax acquired property.
Okay, one thing I wanted to bring up first, we have a renewal of an alcohol license for the Pepper Mill. She forgot to do it with the state, so it had expired. I did get it extended, but there is no written complaints. And I'm wondering if the board would just, the board does not have to have a public hearing because there is no written complaints, but I'm wondering if the board would waive the public hearing and vote to approve the renewal.
I would make a motion to waive the public hearing and vote on approval.
I'll second.
Seconded. Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Then the next thing I've got is for a 38 lot 8. That's the lot that was previously sold, and the closing is coming up, and there's a HUD statement. You just need to sign the last page. And lastly, we have a sales agreement for lot 38, number 7. And she is offering to list it at $45,100. This is just opposite of 38.8, and that one went for $59,000. So she wants to list it for $45,000 if the board would approve for her to list it.
Why much lower?
I'm sorry?
How come much lower?
It's the same listing price that she did before. It's just, it goes into a little bit of bidding. As you noticed, the last time there was 3 bids, there was a $35,000, and then the top bid came at $59,000. So.
And this one is tax acquired. It's not a Lake Arrowhead.
Right. But right now, all of these will be the tax acquired Because the town-owned properties, we can combine them, and that's what we want to do. But-
I think we ought to keep it what we had the other one at, a higher number.
I don't think, hang on. I don't think there's a problem listing it at that, because she can take higher offers. And with the way that people have been putting in their offers with the $1,000 increments to outbid,
And that's what we listed it at last time, and we just got an offer that was higher.
right,
Yeah, that is the same that was listed. That's map 38, lot 7, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I make a motion to, that we list map 38, lot 7 for, what was that again?
45,000.
45,000.
there a second?
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
So, and again, I've indicated where you need to sign an initial. If you just leave these with Courtney, she's more than happy to sync me with a lot of paperwork in the morning.
Go pass it down to Courtney.
I didn't know if you wanted to start adding a little bit more to each realtor because of they have to create the offers and survey the property. So starting next week, I'd like to, or this week, send the realtors another lot so that we can get the offer, the sales agreement stuff for the board to decide whether or not they want to sell it at that price.
I think we should. I mean, we're already in August. If any builder's going to buy a property, they're going to need time to build, so.
Now, and I do know there's a concern with Julie and Judy when we receive the money, so I don't know if we can have just a sit-down, because when I do the summary, I want it so that we give them the check with the summary, and it's a clean process without any confusion. Is there a board member that would be, or 2 or 3 board members that would be available to sit with us just to go over the process with Julie and Judy and myself?
If they can do it in the evening, I can make myself available.
I think it would take a lot of tension off in Judy and Julie.
I'll do it.
You can do it, Wade.
I can't do it for the next few
Well,
weeks anyway.
We'll keep the rest of the board involved and informed, but I just want to get rid of that tension and the questions that Judy had and Julie has, so just think it would be better. That's all I had.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
okay, next, Rick.
Evening, Rick Richardson, Road Commissioner. I'd like to start off with the LED light on Route 5 heading south. It's the second time it's been cleaned out. You saw us out there today piecing it back together. I checked with DOT, and it's up to us to take care of that. So we took care of it before, we took care of it now, so. Question came up, why is the sign so low? We put it in the same spot the state did. There's ledge 16 inches down, so if we put a real tall sign up, it's not going to work. So we put a support post up just to kind of give it a little extra. It's up and working. We trimmed a few lilac bushes, so that's pretty good. Johnson Road's completed and ready for paving. We finished it up the ditching and the culvert cleanouts. We cut back all the small trees and bushes for sight distance and also took down several dead trees along the roadway. We'll be starting on the Foss Road tomorrow with the same thing, getting it prepared for paving. There's a lot less ditch work, but there's quite a bit of hanging tree canopies over the road we're going to take care of. I've had several phone calls about the Quarry Road. And so I took it upon myself to go visit Mike Carroll, and hopefully that problem's resolved with the truck traffic and rocks in the road and stuff like that. So it seems to be getting better.
They actually covering the trucks?
For the most part. It's getting better. The phone still rings, so I still go up and check it out. We got started on the roadside mowing. Scott Parody's given us a hand again this year. The growth has taken off crazy on quite a few roads. That's why we're getting started a little earlier. So far, he got Stone Hill Road. I wanted to get that done so we can get ready for shoulder gravel this month. Johnson Road, Foss Road from Range E to Route 11, and Terry Drive off from the Foss Road. Range E from Foss Road down to Rickers Hill to Route 11, and the Patterson Road. The next phase of the mowing will be later this month, and our main objective is site distance. I reached out to Jason from Dayton Sand and Gravel on the paving. We measured the business park, and we've got a quote for the surface layer, and plus we measured 4 of the roads, and he gave us prices on them with shoulder gravel. So with all the quotes in, I'd like to get together with you sometime and figure out which priority we ought to tackle. There's 4 roads that were proposed for this year. We're not gonna get the 5th one, Watson's Hill, because that's out of the budget, but there's money available to do maybe 1 or 2 smaller other roads to complete. We're trying to work within the budget here, and it's going fairly well so far. It's been going very well.
They giving you a schedule when they're gonna start?
3rd week of this month. So that's why we're getting the ones that are projected, which I have a list here if you'd like them. And Stone Hill Road, the shoulder gravel, I think we discussed that. That's gonna come out of Article 50. So that's just gonna take 24.4 off of the paving, and we can add that, take it out of the paving budget, which he kind of penciled it in. That'll be Article 50, so that'll be $24,400 that we can put towards another part of the project on paving. So they're quite accommodating, and picked the phone up, and he's easy to meet with us, so.
Good.
Any questions?
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Not on the paving part of it. New Dam and Dole's Ridge. Have we reached out to the solar company that owns that property to kind of flatten out that area
Stan?
next to the road?
I asked Stan about that, and I guess it's gonna have to be up to us, because the solar company's not gonna step up and do it. So what I'd like to do is remove that whole stone wall, all the brush, the debris and everything, and just clean it right up. So the same people keep calling me, and we cut it all down, but there's only so low you can get it with the rocks that are 2.5, 3 feet high.
Well, that and there's a big concrete piece or granite piece with rebar sticking out now, and
Yeah, plus there's a culvert there, which is, I think it's part of the sewer line. Is that part of the sewer line? Yeah, it's like an inspection. So we gotta work around that. But Stan did mention we're gonna have to do it ourselves.
okay. If we
Which-
can get that on there
Oh,
to
yeah.
get it done,
Oh, yeah,
because
right off.
it's an accident waiting to happen.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It's a vent for the,
So it can keep the gravel.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next Cindy Smith, Library.
Hi. We're busy at the library. We've had a busy summer. We had the Lego camp, and we had 23 kids each day. We had a registration for it, and a lot of people signed up, and then somebody came in with 9 kids on the first day, so we were able to accommodate them. Cody was happy to do that. So they're already asking him to come back next year. They're looking forward to that. We still have the Maine Wildlife Park discount passes. So you get the tickets with us, and then you pay $5 per person when you get to the park. So we still have a few of those left. We have a craft in the basement tomorrow, our last craft for the summer reading program. That's at 3 o'clock. That's a full registration already.
How long is, do you know how long that's going to?
About an hour and a half. Why? Do you have a meeting? Do you have something going on?
At 4:30, not until 4:30.
You have something at 4:30?
We're going to end up having an executive session.
We'll make sure we're
At
out of there by
4:30.
4:30.
Okay.
Might be a little dirt.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. We just want to be able to do it downstairs since it will be with attorney consult. so.
Okay. All right, we will do our best. We'll be out of there.
Thank you.
Let's see. Back to the summer reading program, we do a thing with the Masonic group, the local Masonic group. They do Bikes for Books. So the last day of the summer reading program is August 8th. So we're asking the kids to be sure to drop off their tickets for the drawing. And we'll draw the names of the winners. 6 winners will win bikes and a bike and a helmet. And then we'll present the bicycles on the Saturday, the 22nd at 10 a.m. Again, we have the card games, story time. We had an author come for the story time today. Her name is Jolene Whittemore, and she read her book. And kids like that. She brought some craft and coloring things. And I think that's about it.
I've been busy,
Yep.
very busy this year.
Thanks. Next, Joanne Andrews, Transfer Station.
I took one too many.
First of all, I'm extremely happy that Dayton Sand and Gravel got the bid on the road paving. I happened to see Ricky last week and asked him if there was any chance that we could get a quote from them. I got a quote last year for $57,500, and I was totally shocked when I compared the two. This quote here for $23,360 also includes 2 smaller areas that were over and above what the other company quoted. Met with Jason Robinson, Ricky and I, and what a great person to work with. Just unbelievable to work with. Very, very helpful, willing to help. Ricky and I were talking afterwards and realized that the townspeople did vote $57,500 to do a portion of it. But with this kind of a bid, we can actually finish the transfer station for, I believe, under the $57,500 if you wanted to extend that.
How much more have you got to do?
Have to do from beyond the 3 bunkers there that we put the toilets and everything in, down around all that area in front of the containers and the roadway all the way out. It's quite an area.
I mean, I think as long as it's within budget.
And it would save quite a lot on erosion on that curve going down too, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It'd be easier for them to plow everything.
Yeah,
Don't have to bring in gravel and, you know.
exactly.
My only concern is paving when they're coming in to pick up the dumpsters. and they're gonna chew that up.
We talked about that. We talked to Jason about that, and he wants to figure if this takes place, to schedule it so they can pave it after they empty the bins, so it'll give them between 4 and 5 days before the trucks have to show back up again.
Well, I'm actually wondering about how much they're gonna, in the turning and everything else of those trucks and getting those dumpsters and stuff out of there, are we gonna get damage?
It's a straight shot. They pull up by the metal pile and they back straight in.
Back straight in.
Okay, but just ask.
We talked about that. That was a concern of Joanne, so.
So if you'd, like, I guess we can get Jason back there and get a firm price on all of it.
As long as you don't exceed what you got budgeted.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely get a price on it to,
Now, that down back, you're talking about just putting the base down for now?
Yes. 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be 3/4. Yeah, it'd be a big improvement all the way around. I'm really happy about that. They're coming to do another inspection on the cap, and after we got through with Jason, Steve and Ricky, and I went down and walked around the back of the cap because the Environmental Protection has ordered us to take down all the trees that are encroaching on the cap. And there's got to be 40 trees. All of 40 trees that have to come out. And they're from all the way up top, all the way around the back. Because they're growing into the cap, they're going to damage the membrane. And Ricky said that they can do it for $2,500. And it would be a good time to do it. They can do it as soon as possible because they're coming in to grind the brush. So they can haul all those trees down, add them to the brush pile, and we'll get them chipped up and cleaned up. So, and they're coming to grind next week, I believe. So I don't know if they can work it in that fast, but it would be great if they could, because they can drag them right to the pile.
do you have a clone, Ricky?
So if
Do
you
you have a
could
clone?
vote, if you could vote to do that, we can get everything cleaned up. It'll be great.
So that's coming out of your budget?
That's coming out of my budget. I budgeted for it.
Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Make a motion to allow Ricky to spend the acquired $2,500 to remove those trees.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
And we'll get with Jason and get a firm price on finishing. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Joanne.
Okay, next item, hearing of citizens. Wendy?
So you received today a ordinance for a hiring process to review, and Gail had put this together, and I reviewed it with her. And the purpose of it is, you've got some key critical roles that have changed from being elected to appointed by the Select Board. And what this committee would do is vet these people. You could have 10, 15 people. Are you going to have time to interview all of these people when that time comes, if that's possible? And it's, let me read you the purpose. The purpose of it is to ensure transparent, consistent, merit-based hiring, aligning hiring processes with main statutory requirements, positions covered, treasurer, town clerk, tax collector, CEO, fire chief, transfer station manager, and any designated critical role. Legal authority is established or adopted under 30A MRSA 3000, subsection 3001. References statutory requirements for each covered position, ensures compliance with FOIA, ethics rules, and hiring standards. Hiring committee structure, you have 5 vote-in members, and these will be appointed by the board, the committee members. Budget committee, you want a budget committee representative, a department head that's not supervising that particular position, because you want them, how do I want to say, I'm not sure how to say it. Because the hiring process could involve, I'm going to hire this friend because of this friend, because of this friend, and you don't want that.
Non-biased opinion.
Yeah, correct. And ensures, let's see, so, and you'd want up to two alternates. And you would also have 2 Limerick residents, 1 municipal professional from another town with expertise in hiring. Maybe a town that has a human resource director might be able to do that. The committee's responsibilities would confirm job descriptions and meet statutory requirements, and that's another thing you'll have to do because all these positions are now become appointed. They need to have job descriptions, so that when a person applies for the job, they know what they're applying for. Establish objectives for evaluation criteria, advertise vacancies publicly for at least 14 days. And in a lot of companies, they do post a job inside first, or if they don't believe they have anybody inside, they'll post it on the outside. Review applications and conduct structured interviews, perform background and reference checks, prepare written evaluation report with rankings, submit minimum 2 qualified finalists to the select board. Hiring procedures, application would be logged in the office that were received in and gone through to see which people you want to hire or not hire. And it gets forwarded to the committee within 48 hours. Interview process is a standardized questions, written score, rubrics, so you rating this person as you're interviewing with them. It's basically what we did when we hired the first fire chief. Notes and scoring sheets retained as public records. You want to do background checks, financial positions like criminal finalists only. You don't have to do everybody. Credit, municipal experience, CEO certification and training verification for these fire chief. Do a criminal background check, come in, experience fire service certifications, and EMS license if applicable. And the final recommendations from the committee will go to the board with a written report submitted within the 7 days of the final interview. The select board authority, select board retains full appointment authority. Nothing is taken away from. That's your responsibility. You are the executive branch of the town. May accept recommendations, request more candidates, or reopen the process if what you receive is not to your liking. Cannot appoint someone not evaluated by the committee unless declaring an emergency vacancy by unanimous vote. Conflict of interest rules, which I kind of touched. Recusal required for family relationships, financial interest, supervisory subordinate relationships. Conflicts must be disclosed in writing. Transparency in records. FOIA compliance required. Executive sessions limited to personnel and confidential background information. Records retained per Maine State Archive schedule. And training requirements annual in FOIA. Anti-discrimination, hiring practices, ethics and conflict of interest, statutory requirements for covered positions, and fire service command level qualifications when applicable. Effective date of the ordinance will be upon approval by the townspeople. And so what we wanted you to do is to review the ordinance that was given to you, check on anything that Scott picked up on something that needs to be corrected. Review it by next Tuesday if you have an answer for us, so that, because it should be reviewed by the lawyer to make sure that we're handling that properly. So with that being said, there is a, if you do next week, because then we're going to have to go out and get signatures, and I'm not really into that. So the question on the ballot shall be, shall the town adopt the ordinance establishing a hiring committee for critical municipal positions? Any questions? Doesn't mean I have to answer.
No, you say here, yeah. There were 2 that I wanted to ask about. So
Yeah.
the one, Lisa and I were talking today after we'd come in this morning, and we wanted to ask about the vision for our position, obviously. we were both hired as trainees, but we still require appointment next year. Are we planning on going out to bid and listing our jobs for 2 weeks at the beginning of the year to try and hire or to try and interview potential competitors with us?
I would interview, like I said earlier, if you put it inside the building first, and they would review you. Doesn't mean they're gonna say, you know, you would be considered.
So we would, at least that right now, the intent is to interview additional people for the job that we've already basically been hired for.
That's up to, as I said, it's up to the board to do that, if they wanted to interview other people, but that doesn't give you a warm and fuzzy feeling, does it?
I mean,
I knew you was gonna.
I know all these people, I like most of them.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. And then the other one that I wanted to ask about, this was more of a personal question, was the section on not having the immediate supervisor as part of the interview process. Would having a supervisor from outside the department really benefit the interview process? And could you elaborate a little bit more on that? And I'm gonna go back to my seat.
Okay. If you were out, if you were not an employee already, it may be to the advantage of the town to have someone other than the supervisor of that department do it. But in the situation that we're in now with the town, we're changing from being elected officials to appointed officials. And that's the charter that was put together would be handling all this right now. It would take care of these questions, because what's happening to us is we're piecemealing the charter, you know, and we want it to be fair for the employee who is applying for the job. Because anybody can apply for the job inside or outside of the building. But most of the time, you want to offer it to the people who are already there, you know. I wouldn't want you to lose your job because someone thinks that someone on the outside is better. In your case, maybe your supervisor, which is your board, could say, we want to keep you in that position. Does that answer your question? You know,
It does. Like I said, I was just looking more for clarification on the intent with the positions that we already have, not just the one that we know might come available next year. So.
right. You know, it doesn't hurt to go through that interview process and have the board, they essentially would be doing a review of you to see how you're doing the job.
Yeah.
You know, it could be done that way.
Doesn't hurt me. I'm
Yep.
awesome.
I think at this point, you know, we need to have some time to actually review it.
Correct.
And,
Definitely.
you know, because my initial question, which we're having a hard time getting budget committee members. How are we going to get a whole nother committee to jump up and say, yep, we'll do it?
Well, I know there are people that are interested in doing these things, interviewing people and setting up that process. So so you don't have 5 people, so you're going to be tasked with the job yourself of interviewing. You could be interviewing 1, or you could be interviewing 15 because they all look good. Yeah, it's going to advertise it. It's a hard question to answer. It is. And so now the other thing was you asked me to put together so you need to review it. You need to. It's up to you, and then it can be at that point that a petition process will happen. So here's the one for the committee itself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for writing this one up, or revising it.
So all it is it's changing the number of members from 5 to 3. And the question is to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Limerick Budget Committee ordinance by reducing the number of elected Budget Committee members from 5 to 3, and to adopt the amended ordinance as follows. Section 2, why did I do that? Composition, elections, qualification, terms, and vacancies. The committee shall consist of 3 members who shall be elected and shall be registered voters in the Town of Limerick. No head of a town department may be a member. Members shall serve for terms of 3 years, and except they shall continue into office until their successors are appointed. Any unfilled vacancies shall be filled with qualified individuals within 30 days by appointment of the Select Board. Appointees shall serve until the end of the elected term of the member they replace. All other sections of the ordinance shall remain in force and effect. So if that's what you want to put on the ballot in November, you can add that. And then I want to say that, yes, I did resign.
Think about it.
I did resign from the Budget Committee, and it's not for the reasons that I hear that are out in public. It has nothing to do with Cheryl. I like Cheryl. I was looking forward to working with Cheryl. Has nothing to do with anyone. It has to do with, I said this last week, surgery on my leg. And the healing time is going to be like up to 12 weeks. So I won't, I don't want to do it via Zoom because that costs the town more money. And it's, you don't get anything out of it. And so I'm happy to have served the town all the years that I have served it. I don't mind doing these little projects and bringing them forth for people or writing themselves. If there's anything that you need, I'll be more than happy to, review statutes and laws and policies. And thank you.
Hold on just a second. Do we have to accept her resignation? Can we
Yes.
force her to stay on the board, on the committee?
We gave her a hard time, too.
Yeah.
I would move to accept her resignation.
We already got it on the agenda.
I know, we may as well do it now since she brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to accept her resignation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept Wendy Thorne's resignation from the Budget Committee. All those in favor? Vote opposed?
So here's my understanding of that ordinance. It needs to be done by September 3rd and ready to go.
Okay.
And you'll want council to look at it if you, either way, if we take it out, we need to have it reviewed.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Merrill?
Good evening, Merrill Farrand. I've heard from two reliable sources the following, and I have no reason to believe it's inaccurate. I'm very concerned to learn that the Select Board has declined the Planning Board the ability to acquire their own legal representation. That is legal guidance for the very complicated decision they'll have to make in the upcoming appeal by Sean Gerard and the CIA. Yet, the appeal board will have the benefit of representation by the town attorney. Who's to say that one board is more deserving than the other? They're both made up of lay people in need of legal guidance. I understand that the Select Board is trying to be mindful of the town's legal expenses, but there are several disturbing issues. First, why can the appeal board be represented by the town attorney if cost is an issue? You will be paying that bill. Second, if you do not allow the planning board the same benefit, it will give the appearance that you, as a board, are tainting the process or choosing sides, favoring one outcome over the other. Do you want to put yourself in that situation? Remember, the appeal board was appointed by you.
Yes, can I?
I'm going to finish if you don't mind.
Not a
That
problem.
way
I was going to answer why.
It was appointed by you. The planning board is elected. Third and most important, the planning board followed a due diligence process over multiple meetings, a site walk, and hours upon hours reviewing a bulk of material, all to improve upon a poorly crafted conditional use permit from 2020. They worked hard to create a new findings of fact and that will result in greater protections for our community and the environment, a document that our CEO can more effectively enforce, further protecting the surrounding homes now and into the future. Don't you, as our leaders, believe that the planning board's hard work is valued and should have the same right to protect its process as the appeals board? Shouldn't our community have representation that protects the recent planning board's decision when they are going to be inundated with questions from the town attorney, Ben Potter, as well as the onslaught of questions likely to come from CIA's attorney, Mr. Ordway? And we've watched that process recently here to know how that can go. Recently, you have provided legal counsel for our fire chief. You thought it was important to protect his rights and decision against other legal counsel. It doesn't seem fair to deny the members of the planning board that same right. We know that a level playing field is morally right and a just thing to do to protect our planning board's process. This may prevent future legal expenses, in fact. If an appeal is filed with Superior Court, imbalance in this process may become a factor for a judge to determine. I'm asking the Select Board to please be fair and level this playing field, if not for the sake of appearing to favor one board over the other, but also for the sake of the individuals who serve on those boards, who volunteer hours going through material, statutes, ordinances. This will show that you support their hard work. Also, we shouldn't forget the citizens of Limerick who rely on you, our leaders, to protect the process and to help reduce further litigation. Sorry, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss any thought.
That's okay. I mean, I can get back to you with more detail, but the gist of it is, when the planning board issues their decision, it's going to get appealed to the zoning board of appeals. If the town says, okay, here's your attorney, planning board, you guys get to have an attorney for this, for the appeal, the town now has to go out and find separate counsel for the zoning board of appeals.
I understand that.
Which creates an issue in itself. There are more intricacies to it. Do we think it's more critical for the Board of Appeals to have legal counsel? Yes, because when it goes to court, they're also going to be pulled in. And me personally, I would, you know, the planning board has been doing an amazing job with documenting, writing everything up. Everything's been black and white. Here's why they're finding this. Here's step by step on everything. The zoning board of appeals that we have right now is fairly green as far as, I mean, I know some of them have been on the board previously, but it's a new board. If the planning board wants to have counsel, that's something that we could probably discuss with them. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem discussing it at some point if the need arose.
When did they request counsel, and when was it denied? Because I don't
know nothing about it.
I don't remember a request.
I don't remember us voting on that.
We didn't. Ben had reached out in an email, which I thought I forwarded like I did the other one. But he had asked, he needed an answer on whether we wanted their office, and it was specific to their office. Do we want their office to be representing the planning board or the Board of Appeals? And their recommendation was the Board of Appeals.
May I speak?
Yes.
So I've been through too many of these appeals between CIA and the planning board. You're wrong about what the planning board needs if you really believe that what they did is a proper process. They need representation because the onslaught and the lack of being able to say more articulate material to ensure that their process continues to look as pure as you've described will be compromised. Because I've seen it
I
happen.
mean, I'm happy
I absolutely
I'm
do not
happy to
believe
reach
you.
out to the planning board to discuss it with them. Absolutely, to see where they're at. But
Okay.
when it came at us, you know, just from an attorney saying, look, you've got this choice, either or.
Well, I understood that the
So-
planning board, at least through the chairman, had asked this question and was told no. So maybe I'm incorrect, and I apologize if I am. I'll be at the planning board meeting tomorrow night, and if you're saying that he just simply needs to come before you and you'll make your decision then, I'll be happy to do that next
Never
step.
got anything in writing from him.
No, we've never been requested anything from the planning board. It was,
I didn't say I had anything in writing.
oh,
I
no,
did not.
nothing. I haven't heard from phone call, text, email, nothing.
Okay.
No?
All right. Thank you very much.
So, yeah.
This is a question. Do we call up Bernstein Shore?
Well, do we want to,
Or do
let's
we-
get a hold of the planning board to see what they need,
Oh, they're gonna be here tomorrow
and
night.
then we can vote on getting them.
Do we know what the date is on that?
They haven't set the appeal yet because they haven't met to, so,
I thought,
Two other times, I don't know why this would be different.
well, no, they never reached out to us. So when it came at us from it, you know, when it came, oh, microphone. When it came at us, you know, from the attorney of, we need a decision of this or this, you know, went with his recommendation. They needed to know. I'm happy, I mean, the board is happy to talk to the planning board if they need counsel. Absolutely. I think they should be represented because they do a lot of work. And they put in all of the initial footwork for this. Am I,
Would it be possible, I mean, to have, the previous attorney would email the board as a whole? I'm concerned with the attorney reached out for a decision, the decision was made, and I hadn't heard, I might be mistaken, but I have not seen an email come through about it. I'll check when I get to my town phone to my car, but I just want to make sure, and it sounds like
Yeah.
Wade or Howard hasn't heard about it either, so I'm concerned on how a decision was made with less than the majority of the board.
yeah.
And I'm not saying it's
No,
your fault,
no.
I just want to make sure that,
we don't
Right.
have anything on record from the planning board saying that they want to be represented, or they feel they need to be represented. And because we're starting out with new people, basically, one's been on there before, they of all people need representation. But if we get, I would say if we get word from the planning board that they said, hey, we need somebody,
Yeah,
then we do it.
yeah. I feel the same way.
But we've got to get them, the chair's got to get back to us and say, hey, we need to
Yeah.
have representation.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all it takes is an email.
So do you want me to reach out to Aaron tomorrow?
Please.
Send him an email with the whole board and the whole planning board
Yeah,
included to be like, hey, are you looking for representation? And then if he wants to sit down and meet with you guys, we can
then
go from there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're going to be here tomorrow night, so,
Yeah, but we're going to be busy tomorrow night.
yeah.
no, we're going to be meeting before then.
Oh, yes,
We can
yes.
stick around after, if need be. I know I can, I don't know about anybody else.
Right, because you guys are meeting right before the planning board
Right.
meeting.
And sorry, Brady, no, you did not get that email. It's on the hearing decision consult, so that was why.
Okay?
Okay,
So we're done with that.
I will send that email tomorrow morning,
Okay.
and then, go from there.
I mean, maybe if they can come in like 30 minutes early. Because I don't think, because we're supposed to do the consult 4:30.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't see it going until 7.
Well, it would be kind of nice if we got something from the planning board tomorrow prior to our meeting, because the person that we're meeting with is probably going to be one of the representatives.
No, maybe, if that's who they,
Yeah, so when I get into the office tomorrow morning, I'll send the email right off. That will be one of the things that I get done right as I get in. That way, that gives Aaron enough time to get back to us, or somebody on the planning board.
Well, if you don't hear by us, say noontime, I give them a call.
Okay, I can do that.
One way or the other, we want to know
and
tomorrow.
maybe see if they can do a workshop with us at 6:30? Just to kind of get it, details figured out.
You plan on being here 2 hours tomorrow?
It's a half hour before the planning board meeting, so if I have to come back, oh,
Why don't I just put it on the agenda that someone will be there tomorrow night to talk with them during the meeting? Doesn't have to be a workshop. Just
I can meet with them.
one or two,
okay.
3 or 4, just be there. and
I mean,
discuss with them.
do we need to vote on it to approve them getting counsel if they need it, if they feel they need it?
I think we need to wait to see if they need it. We need to hear from them first.
Okay,
Okay.
So-
Let's see what happens tomorrow.
talk to them tomorrow about it, and then we can make a
that
decision.
decision.
Make a decision on that next week.
And we'll find out who, if in fact they do want, we'll find out which attorney's going to be
Better for them.
better.
Okay, so just to make sure I have what I need to do straight, am I still sending the email? Okay,
Yes. And follow up with a phone call if you do not hear.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Meryl.
Okay, any other hearing of citizens? Steve?
Richardson, just a quick question on the plow contract. When can we sign it?
Well,
So
when
I
do
can
we
get
want
a
to get
perf-
together with
so I
them to
can-
do it?
So I can get his performance bond started? I've started it, but I'm just waiting for a signature.
Anytime?
Just
Do we
as
wanna
long
do
as
it
isn't
tonight?
From 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, I'm all set.
Go see Courtney?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Do you have it,
Nope.
hang on just a second. Do you already have it printed?
no, but if you want me to. I do that to myself all the time. Anyways, I don't, but I can run and get it printed if you want to do that.
Yes, I did send you with all of his information in there, right?
Yep. So
Okay,
it's
so you
ready.
have it.
I can run and print it so you guys can sign it tonight.
Okay.
Do you want me to do that? Okay.
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
So on the article for the ordinance for the budget committee, you may seriously want to think going to 3, because I know it's not going to be voted on until November, but you have a problem right now with them meeting a quorum with 3. You'll have a quorum with 2. With the 5, you need 3. And so then it's like, And you are supposed to appoint those people, but if you can't get them out of the fish pond, you're not going to get them out anyway.
Exactly, thank you.
We're waiting on one right now.
Waiting on one, good.
Cheryl?
Okay. Ricky answered one question about Stonehill, that's done. I noticed the manhole covers. I thought Tony had said something about those were going to be taken care of, but now they're all painted. Who's going to take care of them, the town or the state?
Rick, you know all about that, don't you? You're the one that painted, you and Charlie painted them.
We inquired about that because there was almost a motorcycle accident by hitting the manhole, so
Yeah.
we took it upon ourselves to mark them. We got reprimanded for that, so I called DOT and asked him, he says, well, thank you. He says, now I can dodge them, so. So as people drive up around the hill, they can avoid the manhole covers. They were supposed to be raised, according to Stan.
But Tony stood here and said, because I had commented about the last time that they had done the paving years ago, and he said, well, we're gonna take care of these right away, and it's gonna be done, and of course, after they paved, the ones were, some were okay, but then the others were worse.
Yep. So
what's
we
the-
took it upon ourselves to mark them, and it was kind of an issue. We got called out on it, so.
So what's the verdict? They gonna be fixed or
I
not?
went to that stand, and he had a piece of paper saying they were supposed to be elevated. I don't know the time frame.
No.
I was hoping,
You
like
wouldn't
all of
think
us were hoping before it was paid.
Oh, yeah, it should have been done just like last time. It was, the ball was dropped again. So, but that was the water district that did that, not the
All I can tell you about
road
it is
commissioner.
good piece of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Manholes, turnaround. Any action done on the turnarounds for the plow contract? So they don't get hung out to dry when,
Not
you know?
that I'm personally aware of. Has anybody been working on getting permissions? Does any,
I have not caught up with the one for Dole's Ridge.
I mean, we have the list.
Is that the only one, Howard?
There's,
Well, I saw one that was brought to me anyway, as far as, I know we've got a list, but. the
We've got
one
a list that we need to-
basically
we need to
there
get
is no
permissions.
turnaround right now.
So,
Old Ridge Road.
Right,
Oh, for the new house?
yeah, because that new house, the guy owns the property and,
Asking one of the landowners on the property.
Can't we just push it into Leamington?
We can't use that driveway because it's paved, so.
so, question, do you want me to draft up a letter? And then we can just, I have the list of properties that you had given
Yep.
to the board. So do you want me to draft up a letter to these people who own the properties? Have you guys look at it next week and get it sent out?
hey, Ricky, how would you like her to handle that?
I'd rather go talk to people personally and just ask them,
that's the best
have
one.
a conversation with them.
Don't send
Okay.
no letters.
Okay.
I'd rather
Can
go
you,
talk to
can
them
you,
and have a conversation.
can you help facilitate that?
Maybe have them waive it, you know, right then and there.
We ought to talk to them first before we bring out any paperwork. We don't want to overwhelm anybody.
No,
Just have some
But-
copy.
but if you can talk to them, they agree and say, you know, look, can we just get, you know, an agreement in place with the town?
I'll deal with the one on Dole's Ridge because I negotiated with your father years ago to get her driveway done.
Up on the Tufts Road.
So I'll take care of her.
What's the other one that needs to be addressed?
That's the one I know of.
Right.
That was brought to my attention
The
anyway.
rest of them should be fine to this date.
Well, Leamington will use that too, to turn around.
That's right.
Not just
Yeah,
Limerick.
it's going to be both
It'll
times.
be both towns.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. On to the next one. Just curious on the snow contract. I remember that the third year of Cesario's contract was held. Held because it did bridges replacement. Was that ever, I never heard any more about that. Did we have to raise any more money for his first year, for replacement?
Wait a minute.
I couldn't find it anywhere.
I think raise money for that contract.
I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Cesario letter of credit or the performance bond had expired at the time of us terminating his contract.
So the third year, there was nothing, he didn't have to pay out the third year to pay for bridges replacement?
No, there was no
So
money.
the town got stuck for it?
Well, so we didn't pay Cesario,
Right.
so we paid Bridges in
Oh, well,
place.
yeah, that's the question I'm asking, yes. I
Yeah,
did.
I don't believe we have to raise any more money
Okay.
unless,
Yeah. No, that's no big deal, it pops in and I have to answer my questions. so I
We
don't have to
ended
look
up
them
paying Cesario, what, $40,000 more. I mean, not Cesario, Bridges.
But that would have come out of a performance bond.
There wasn't any performance.
Wasn't
up. It's just a letter of
yeah,
credit.
on Cesario, there was a letter of credit that had to be renewed each year. And at the time of termination of the contract, his letter of credit from the previous year had expired and we had not been given a new one.
So
This is
the
why we
difference
have a
came from
performance
where?
bond. What?
The difference came from where? Was it a special fund or did we vote for it? I couldn't find anything.
To be honest with you, I'd have to go back and dig and see where that,
Okay. No
I
big
think
deal,
with
it's
I
just,
think with Bridges, because of the payment schedule, portion of it was last year, portion of it was this year. So for this year's budget, the budget was raised.
because we voted in March and we had to
Correct.
raise more.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This new ordinance or this new hiring committee, it sounds so familiar about several years ago when we wanted to hire a fire chief. We were going to have a committee to interview everyone to see, we're a small town. I think it's a lot of hoopla to hire, to have the committee to hire that. We're doing fine voting. We have our town meetings in March and special town meetings. And I just think it's a lot for us as a town. We voted down the charter twice at least. We voted down a town manager at least twice. Trying again, third time never fails. I hope it fails, because I don't feel people that are working for the town have to be scrutinized by a special committee like they were trying to shove down our throats during the fire chief. That was out-of-towners that were coming in and sitting on committees to interview, have us get a fire chief. And, it's just my opinion, but I think if it is voted on or put in front of the people, it should be waited until March. This November vote is just rush, 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 and that seems to how people get things shoved in down our throats, and, we got to do it, we got a deadline. They want to do it, should be in March. Everybody's going to be voting in March. It's the town, it's a bigger turnout, especially with the 2027, 8, whatever, we just need to have the town in itself vote rather than push it. But that's just my opinion.
Shell, I'll agree with you on the voter turnout. I think the reason why November, in my opinion, may be the best is because in March we have the majority of the positions coming up. We have the treasurer, the tax collector, the town clerk. That's just my opinion on why. If by the time we vote in March, we will already have to have those positions appointed because their terms end on the day.
But not all the terms. The ones that were voted in will continue until their terms expire?
Which expire that March.
Yeah, but not, everybody doesn't expire in March.
The treasurer, the town clerk, and the tax collector do.
Yeah, but they're appointed now. The town clerk and treasurer shouldn't even be included in this because the town voted to appoint them. They've been appointed, they've been hired, so that shouldn't even be on the table.
At the expiration of their current term, which Julie's term ends the same day mine does.
Treasurer's different.
Yeah, and the town clerk and tax collector's term ends that same day as well. So even if we were going to keep them in their positions, we would have to appoint them no matter what.
After all the training, and if the committee was to say, if it was enforced, would say, no, we don't want them, we want somebody else that's more qualified?
As I said earlier, Cheryl, what I said earlier was those positions that are already there, they have those positions.
Yeah.
I would just let the board decide, make their decision, because that's not fair.
Wouldn't that be up to the committee if it was appointed?
I'd have it overridden,
Yeah.
because right now, those two individuals are deputies, so they would just be applying, they would be applying for the town clerk and the
As a deputy,
tax.
not a off the street.
Right, right. That's how I feel about it. If they're doing a good job, why kick them out?
Yeah. And what other positions were going to be changed from voting to?
The treasurer has,
That's already
that
been.
one's done.
Yes.
All the other town clerk, tax collector appointed.
That's all done.
Treasurer,
The
all
only
the
one
others.
left is Ricky.
Yep, yeah.
Oh, hell, we might as well have him appointed. So that's just, there's no more, hey, you're in the job now with that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it would just be the treasurer, which is already voted on, and so that's it. The planning board, the appeals, everybody else would have to be voted in. Water, sewer, the rest of it. Selectmen, they have to be bid. Okay, all right. Thanks.
Those two positions, the town clerk and the tax collector, have already been chosen.
They're chosen, well, they're chosen as deputies
through-
right now, but you can
Right, with the,
promote them to those two positions.
right now it's planned that they'll be taking over those positions in March,
That's what I
because
said.
they're in training, and the only reason we put that out for a search and hired them was to get that training, because it takes quite a while to learn the ropes on
Yeah, and I'm not
both those jobs.
I'm not disagreeing with you all, because when Scott was in here and he asked the question, I wouldn't want to take that job away from them if they're doing a good job. And even if they weren't, you want to give this person time.
Oh, here's the hand signals. Can you go to the microphone? Wendy?
I forgot what I was saying, I got interrupted. Those two positions they've already been hired, and that was the intent, to make them town clerk and, one the town clerk and the other one the tax collector, as a permanent position. But I think as a formality, you should talk to them at the end, see how they're doing, and then go from there. Nobody wants to fire anybody if they're doing a good job. And they are, they're very nice people.
But the ordinance and the charter and all that stuff has to be approved before any of this goes down anyway, right? Has to go in front of people.
Charter doesn't have to be.
Before committee,
Sounds as if, whatever, you
This
know.
is standing by itself. What she's proposing is standing by itself.
an ordinance for the committee.
Yeah, and then the
Right.
committee takes over and does what a
Correct,
charter would
correct.
do or a town manager, they will take
For the
over
hire.
and run the town. Yeah.
All I said about the when I said the charter, is everything that we're doing now is directing us towards a charter, because of all piecemeal and everything. When we worked on the charter, that portion came up in the, about having a hiring committee, and we threw that, we threw that out. But the
How
town,
that's coming in back, the
Yeah.
committee.
the charter committee, or the hiring,
committee.
yes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I've gone to interviews myself, and I've had 9 or 10 people in the same room interviewing me. You want that, I know that it's intimidating, but if you're really serious about a job and want to do a job well.
This is a small town, I mean, let the people,
It may be, it's small from this perspective in this room right here, but the bigger part of it is, you have a lot of people who live on the outer edges, I'll call it, and they work either from home, and they probably don't even have a main-based home. I mean, a play is elsewhere, and it's a different level. But
the people will have to decide.
that's correct, yes, no bypassing, no.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, going on. Let's go under old business deep fail update. I think we are meeting tomorrow with them anyway, so there's no need to go over that tonight. update on fire suppression box. Courtney, you can talk on that one.
I'm making sure the mic's on. Yeah, so I talked to our insurance company and I let them know how much we had to pay for getting the fire suppression box for the records vault fixed, and they are going to be cutting us a check and sending it. So that is closed and that is all set.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's fixed?
That's fixed and all set.
The fire department is still getting numerous calls to hear on the weekends for another, I thought it was that issue. It's a cell signal alarm, trouble signal, and the humidity alarm is still going off sometimes, and the fire department gets dispatched down to here.
Place is going to be a thorn in our side for eternity. Okay. Next, status of the auditor. I've been working on this, and I've got a list that I got from the state auditor quite a while ago. And I have called all but 4 companies in the state. And all those companies now that I have to call, they're either Bangor or North. I do have 2 companies that one I sent an email to, and one is going to call me back that might be interested. I said might. I'm not holding too much faith in it at this point in time, because when you get told no, no, no every phone call, you kind of get gun shy. But I'm still working on it, and we did have one that we talked about back in, I was looking it up today, back in January, one company, and they wanted over, it was $30,000 base, plus when they came in to get things ready to audit, they were going to bill us out at close to $200 an hour. And that was a little bit expensive. So, I mean, as a last resort, I suppose I could go back to them, but we're going to be paying these other ones. There's one that's a little cheaper, but of course the one that we've got, we haven't lost the one that I talked to originally that said they were going to start, he wanted to start on July 15th. The only reason, I called him back after that was questioned here at one meeting, and the only reason that he backed out as such was because he could not deliver what we had to have done in the time period that he specified, not what we specified. I have since talked to him, and he says, look around. He says, I can't touch it now until next year. Obviously, we got to get this done before next year. So I'm in hopes in the next day or so I'm going to hear back from these 2, and if not, I'll just keep going down the list, and if I have to go right up to Presque Isle, find somebody. But I got news for you. Most of the ones that I've talked to, they're all up in the county. So if they're up in the county, where's the guys in the county going? Down here? I don't think so. So it's tough. There's the auditor business. There's a lot of them that are getting out of it. And primarily because they're having a lot of problems with the towns. And they're just getting sick and tired of it. I've been told that by quite a few of them already. So it's, when they mention that we're not doing it anymore because of such and such, I'm not shocked. So, but we'll just keep on going. We've got to get it done, and we'll just keep on beating the bushes, so to speak, until we find one. But I don't want to have the taxpayers paying through the nose when maybe we don't have to, if we can. So you got to weigh the dollar figure with everything else too. So we've got to, I'll keep looking. That's where that stands. Okay, one other which is not on there that I've put on is we need more people applying for the camera operator's job. We had one, the last one we thought was gonna happen, he never showed. And we need people to step up to the plate. And as far as training, the Saco River will train everyone. But if we have them come in, it's very expensive. Every time we've gone up to the firehouse, it's cost us anywhere from $900 to $1,200 a night. And that's, to me, that's ridiculous. But that's what you get when you gotta have a bigger area for people to sit down. So I just put it out, if anybody knows someone, I don't care what their age is, or the younger ones, obviously, that if we can find somebody that's got some energy and wants to learn something, I mean, it's guaranteed employment every week. Now, they're not gonna make $1 million on it by any means, but it's...
Or every other week,
or whenever we call a meeting, basically. So, that's that. Okay, going on. Anybody got any other old business hanging around that we want to talk about? Okay, going on new business, sidewalk snow plow contract. Has everybody read it?
Yep.
Does anybody have a problem with it?
With the changes, were we good with the changes?
Yep.
To go ahead and, okay. So I will email Courtney the clean copy with the revisions that we made during the workshop.
Yep.
And if you can get that taken care of so we can start getting in bids.
Yeah, so do you guys want to vote to put it out to bid and figure out a day that you want them to come back? Because they need to go out.
Yes, please.
I mean, I can,
I did send it.
Let's see, as soon as you get them, I'd put the ad in the shopper's guide next week, or is it, it's too late now for this week?
It's too late for this week.
yeah,
The ones for this
so,
week are already printed, but we can, till midnight on Sunday, right?
Run it,
For next week? I'll let you talk.
so you run it for a couple of weeks?
yeah, so we have to advertise it for at least 2 weeks. So that would, I'd be able to get it in the end of this week for next week, so we could have it in the 12th, the 19th, and then have them back in on the 25th. If that works for you guys. And then are we doing 3 p.m. like we did the road plowing ones?
Yes.
Okay. So do August 25th. I'm trying to read this and I'm going cross-eyed. August 25th at 3 p.m. Okay. And then I will get the ad drawn up. And yeah. So that way we can get those out and we can get the bids back and be able to go from there because they need to be put out.
Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
okay. Okay, Courtney, what, discuss the
Select board
select board budget?
So, I've been told many different things with these. Am I doing them or are you guys doing them? What is going on with
I
them?
think the board should do them.
Okay. Because as far as I know, from when I was here the first time, the board handled the budgets. I sent all of the templates out last week, so they're all out. You guys also have all
We've
of...
been busy, we haven't been able to get them back to you yet.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to make that deadline.
Darn it, come on, people. Chop. But I did send them all to you guys so that you had time to look at them. But I needed clarification on if you guys were working on them or if I was.
Can,
We will.
well, yeah, we will, but Can we collaborate with you because you know what you're going through for supplies? You know what, you know.
No, you can't.
High five?
We can tell.
When you can't get your, pens?
But of course you can. Like, we can set up workshops to sit down and go through them. And
That might actually be good.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be the best way to do it is to set workshops before regular board meetings and sit down. I'll be here, of course, and we can just go through and look at each one of them and go through them
Last year to this year to.
Yeah, so the templates, I have 2027 requested, and then I have 2026 on there. So we can see last year's numbers, and then we'll want the reports to see last year from this year.
Yep.
And then we can sit down, discuss them, and go from there.
Can you go through?
What's that?
How about some more work?
Keep me busy. I'm okay with it.
I just want to make sure that the numbers that we're looking at for last year are the ones that were approved by the voters.
Okay.
If that makes sense. If there was anything that was turned down, I don't want to use those numbers. I want to use whatever number was approved by the voters for last year.
Okay. So go through March's vote and see which ones were approved and which ones were.
Vote and then the special town meeting on March 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So March. Well,
Which I don't think anything passed. I don't think anything passed on the March 31st. That failed the first time, except for the treasurer.
But I think it'll just be easier this way. We're not
Yep.
adding anything that.
Another thing that I want, so 2 years ago, we had a budget for a deputy town clerk / tax collector. So there was 3 people in that office.
Yep.
This year, we have a budget for town clerk, tax collector, deputy town clerk, and deputy tax collector. And I know that's because of training. For next year, when those positions are moved from deputy, if they move from deputy to the actual positions, do we want, is there a need, I mean, this might be a question for them. Is there, A, did we send out a budget request for deputy town clerk and deputy tax collector to them this year? And B, would we want to merge that position again and have a third person in that office? Or go back to just the town clerk and just the tax collector?
I think they should be cross-trained. I don't think that office is busy enough to where, I mean, I know they have busy times, but they, the town clerk and tax collector know when their busy times are, during the month, during the week, during the whatever. So if one needs to take some time off, the other one should be able to cover without creating too much chaos. I think it's, I don't want to say slow enough.
Yeah, no,
but I
was
think
just wondering.
I think they should be cross-trained to cover that because I don't think the amount of citizens coming in and
I
utilizing.
just don't want there to be at the last minute, oh, we need to budget for this third position in that office if we don't plan on having it, or if we do plan on having it, we should work on budgeting that now, because that will,
That will ultimately affect, But I think,
They definitely need to be cross-trained, which I believe is what they're doing now.
yeah.
I could be wrong on that one, but I believe they are.
So something to maybe talk with Dee and Judy about.
Yeah. Okay, so. Do we want to set a workshop day fairly soon, or do we want to give it a week or so to look over what we've got for information, printouts from Julie, and
For
make
budgets?
sure everything is right?
For budget stuff?
Yeah.
Let's give us a few weeks. Let's get through August. Because budgets aren't even going to start coming back in until September, until the end of September.
So do you guys still want to schedule the workshops so that nothing gets scheduled and then you guys are trying to scramble to schedule the workshops? And this is probably going to take a couple of workshops because there are a lot of budgets for the Board of Selectmen. Sorry.
Whatever happens, we've got to have those budgets all completed by at least the first part of December.
What?
We
No.
agreed last week,
September 3rd.
Okay, this is,
Well, rather,
I'm stepping out for a second from, budget committee last couple of years.
it's better than
The
waiting till
board
the
needs to
last
have their
minute.
budgets in by October, or by the deadline,
September
whatever.
30th.
Yes, we need to have our budgets in by then. If we need to revise them,
Yeah, and
maybe-
the longer you push this back, then you're
But-
gonna be up against it to get that town report out. We've done it every year.
Okay,
That's a
so
horror show.
do we want to do the first 2 weeks in September? So the 1st and the 8th before regular board meetings?
sure.
Okay, what time do you guys want to start?
Well, I won't be here on the 1st, so. I'm sorry. I will actually be out for medical reasons on that day.
Okay.
Right?
Or,
I mean, if I came in, I could probably come in for the workshop, but I wouldn't stay for the select board meeting just because,
That's where the fun happens.
How about
not when they go rooting around in your heart right before that.
How about setting it up for 5 o'clock?
Okay,
okay, so the 1st and the
is that
8th
okay?
at 5 o'clock.
Oh. Because he's gonna probably end up driving me. Just for the workshop.
We also need to set up a schedule so we let all departments know when they're gonna come in for their review.
Well, and I think this year, the select board should meet with the budget committee so they can be recommended as they go, so that at the end of the year, we're not meeting on last minute throughout Christmas, the Christmas holidays, to try to push it through.
That's why I said the 1st of December.
Yeah. But, well, I'm
No,
thinking
I know.
if we meet with them, with the budget committee at the same time, we can either recommend or not recommend. The budget committee can recommend or not recommend.
Yes.
And we can just be done with it. And department heads may not even need to come in if their budgets don't have a huge variance. There's no need to have them present something that's not really changing. Does that make sense?
Unless we've got a flag on something that we don't understand.
Right, or something that the budget committee goes, oh, we want to talk to them. Okay, that sounded bad.
Nice way to describe the budget committee.
So are you gonna set up a time when those departments be coming in?
Yeah, so what I could do is I could just go by the schedule that I have for the department reports and just do it that way and try to set it up that way.
You know how many people we don't see in a month? No, that's fine.
So I have an actual department report
okay.
schedule for, it's 2 per week.
Oh,
And I have that set up so I can check in with the department heads and see when they can come in and go from there. And we can do it in that order if we want to.
okay. If we need to have them come in.
But, okay, so.
I mean, like Joanne typically doesn't have anything huge on hers. She doesn't deviate a lot. Cindy doesn't deviate a lot. So it's kind of, just my opinion. But I guess that's going to kind of be up to the budget committee how they want to run their meetings. All right, Cheryl?
Okay.
You paying attention?
I'm paying attention.
All right.
Email,
Next term,
text, or phone call, and I'm there.
What? Sorry.
next, determination of the MRI contract.
So we need to give 30 days written notice to MRI to end the contract. We are already into August. I cannot get a date from Paycor on a go-live date because the implementation process that we were supposed to go through is not being followed. It has kind of taken off in another direction, so I can't get a drop-dead date. Do we want to just, at this point, say September 30th? Because we're going to end up paying a month anyways. Do we want to tell them September 30th, or do we want to hold off?
Paycor hasn't given us any kind of a timeline.
They can't.
They can give us a timeline once the town of Limerick completes what the town of Limerick needs to do.
Yes.
And from my understanding, the town of Limerick has not completed what they need to do. And we're waiting to get a
There are other people.
timeline.
There are other people that are working on it instead, not going through the streamline process. So the one that can give us the deadline, or the time frame of here's when we're expecting you to go live, doesn't know. I have not been able. I have not gotten an answer. I have not been able to get an answer on that. So do we want to hold off and just keep this on old business? I just don't want to see us go into
How much more time?
October because of, I mean, they're thinking, realistically, they were saying if we can get, the data extract done and, get this stuff done, they were looking at September 4th-ish. But
Well, I'd say termination for the end of September.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure we have a payroll company ready to roll because we're not going to take back our.
well, Courtney has been diligently doing the trainings for the administrator.
But the data extraction part.
Yeah.
Did we get a timeline? I know there's an email sent. I didn't see an email come back through for a timeline.
Yeah,
estimate.
we have not been able to get a timeline because there are other people that are working on that instead of our town appointed implementation person.
So with the data extraction, I have set up a possible meeting on Thursday. So hopefully that can get it in the works because it needs to be done. Because I'm the one who's dealing with the current payroll company.
Okay. So do we want to wait until next week to give them?
I think I would feel more comfortable knowing that the data extraction is done and we can have a date for go live with Paycor before we terminate this payroll company. And
okay. Yeah, because Courtney's going to need to train all the department heads too on how to go in and.
When do you think that's going to start?
Oh, here we go.
I am about halfway through the training myself, and I'm also doing all of my other responsibilities. So, and that's why I closed down my office last week on Thursday and Friday. That's why I'm probably going to end up doing it this week so that I can get through the trainings. And I do them as much as possible in my free time. But I also...
It's extensive.
It's a lot. So let's put it this way. There is 33 pages of training modules that I have to go through in order to get the training done. And I'm about halfway through. So I'm on page 11 of 33. And I am working my hardest to get through them.
It's a third of the way done. 11 to 30. Sorry.
But some of them are shorter, some of them are longer.
Yes.
I know one of the modules that you did was like 4 hours just for one section.
So on Friday, I worked from home. I would rather be in the office, but I need to get this stuff done. And one of the modules was an hour and a half alone, and I got 4 to 5 modules done. So I am doing my best to get this done so that I can schedule the training with the department heads, but it's a lot.
Now, what does, Paycor, tell you how long it should take to train a department head?
They haven't yet, have they?
No.
I mean, I think she's got to get through the training because it,
I realize that, but they,
right, but
they've got some idea, this is not their first rodeo here.
no, but part of what Courtney's training is learning, you know, what the department heads need to do so that she can go in and train them on how to deal with their departments, their department timesheets, everything else. So until Courtney gets through all of that and has an understanding of how long is it going to take, I don't think Courtney can give us a time frame. I mean, the Paycor can come in and spend a day with everybody, I'm sure.
I mean, I can check with Paycor. And
I would, just to find out what typically is taken.
Good luck.
How long it's taken to train a department head.
Reach out to Kristen, please.
I
Okay,
will do
so
that tomorrow.
we'll hold off on the termination date then, at this point.
Hang on just a second. Aaron?
I was working late and I heard that you guys have been discussing the planning board having representation. Stan has reached out to Ben on our behalf and has asked him to represent us. Yes,
Do you guys want separate representation?
absolutely.
Okay. Do you have a
Absolutely.
preference on,
So we were at the understanding that Stan had reached out to Ben and Ben was committed to representing us.
okay. We'll get it figured out and we will get you guys,
Yeah.
oh, I can't speak for the whole board.
Yeah, we
Fine.
absolutely want
Do we
representation.
want, do we
Now
want
that-
to
I
talk
think now that
to?
we've heard this, we can reach out and see if Ben's committed to already working with, or
To
that's
the
the
Board of
assumption.
Appeals.
Okay, then
he's
I think the
committed to
planning
working
board
with-
needs representation, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So,
But-
which will have to be outside counsel again like it is.
If
with
that's
the fire
case, then
department hearings?
We'll find another firm to represent us like we did last time. so.
We've been working with
Bernstein, sure.
Bernstein Shore
Okay,
with the whole fire department issue because
yeah, okay.
Ben's office can only, do one. But
Okay.
were you happy with the one that you guys hired last time?
The first one, very happy, second one, not quite as happy, so, I'd like to maybe talk to Stan and see who's doing that type of branch of law, and then,
You don't remember who you used before? You had good luck with?
we used Zach Brandwine the first time, and then we used another, Grady, somebody else, and I can't remember where he was from, but do you remember Joanne?
Brady Burns.
Grady Burns? Okay, so we used Grady Burns the second time. I mean, he was okay, but not nearly as sharp as Zach. So.
If you guys can maybe email us your preference, we can reach out to get them
Yeah. Yeah. I
retained for you
will,
guys.
Maybe we can see if we can figure that out tomorrow, but so at what point does it become a conflict if we've reached out to someone and asked them to represent us, and then they choose to represent another party within the town? I know whenever you go to hire a lawyer, they've got to do all of their due diligence and say that they don't have any conflicts. And then if this guy has said he's going to represent one person and has got one side of the story, and then he's got another side of the story, I think that's,
Well, the town, they can't represent two.
I understand that. But at the same time, if somebody's already got the inside information on one side, and then you go and get them on the other board, then that's not ethical either. So, Maybe we need two different lawyers, because
Did the planning board already have legal consultation with the attorneys on this case specific?
Stan sent specific information regarding this to Ben
Yep,
and asked him, I said, reaching out for the planning board.
yep.
So,
If that's the case and Ben's already seen it,
Ben's
I feel
already
like
seen it,
Ben has to represent the planning board and not the Board of Appeals. If Ben's already seen the stuff and he knows what he's gonna come up to a fight with, then I don't think he can represent the Board of
it's
Appeals.
kind of scary when you're,
So
You've
do
got to
you,
go to Bernstein to get the other one in.
yeah, so I will reach out to Ben tomorrow, ask him to please represent the planning board. And I will make sure to forward everybody that email. I know Ben doesn't like it going to everybody at once because he's afraid of it being a quorum kind of thing. So, but I will make sure when I send this out that I get it to everybody. And we'll ask him to represent them and then have talk to Bernstein Shore tomorrow, since we're, or
We'll be talking to them
whenever,
anyway.
to have them do the Board of Appeals. Do it that way?
Yeah?
yeah. I'm also gonna be asking that one member of the appeals board recuse himself from at least part of the discussion. I've got numerous Facebook posts and all kinds of things where one person could never be impartial. So that person will be asked to recuse themselves from that discussion when it relates to me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, another one we've got in here, invoice from Welch. I have sent an email to him, so we'll just wait till we get back a comment from him. Which should take care of it.
Oh.
You want to add something?
I just didn't know if you had any questions about this.
The question was,
When the canopy got damaged, Stan wanted something done to secure it. So we all met up there, and I thought it was a good idea to secure the canopy so it wouldn't come down. And Mike emailed me about what account that might come out of. And I said, well, I figured Allstate was gonna pay the bill for that, since how it was damaged.
they'll have to reimburse us.
Right, okay.
But the fact is, we want to know who hired Mike to do this work. Because the big problem is, we can't have 15 people going around hiring people, and then we find out after the fact. And that's what happened here. We get a bill for whatever, and we don't know who wanted it.
Stan approached me and said something needs to be done. So I asked,
You gotta remember something. Stan is the building inspector, he is not the selectman. We are responsible for the buildings. We're responsible for everything, for that matter,
Right.
but when it comes to repairing buildings and stuff, we should be getting the call, not Stan.
he reached out to me. He wanted to know if we could shore it up because it was a safety issue.
But in the future, one of us should be getting a call.
So we need to talk to Stan.
Yeah. I'll speak to Stan. Okay, what's this, the last one,
So are we gonna make I mean, the bill's less than it's $198.
yes.
If Carroll Materials is gonna reimburse us, and it was, I mean, that is an emergency situation that couldn't wait until the next select board meeting to us to find a contractor willing to do it. I believe,
And it was done basically immediately.
I personally would, yeah, I mean, by the time 11 a.m., I was on my way back from physical therapy and I drove by and it was completed. So, I mean, I think that we should pay this bill. It's been a while. We've had it for a while. Looks like we got it July 7th. It's now August 4th. The work was done June 15th. If we had, I know we've talked internally, but it's $198. People are going to get on Facebook and say that I complained about a $119 phone case 2 weeks ago. But this was an emergency stabilization for an entry to a historical building that prevented further damage. And I don't know any contractor that would have been able to do that for less. But
So are you making a motion?
The point of this is that bill could have been $500 for, if it wasn't this particular case, it could be something else. And somebody said, go ahead and do it. And we may not have the money for it. That's my point.
Well, part of it is my responsibility, because when Stan mentioned it to me, I said something needs to be done. So I can be partially to blame for that. I said something needed to be done. Mike offered to fix it, to secure it. Charles put the cones and the barricades around it, just so it wouldn't fall off the building. And you remember when we were looking inside to see the structural part of it. So part of it is my fault.
I would
Said something needs to be done. We just couldn't leave it there.
See where I was coming from?
I understand, I hear you.
I would make a motion that we go ahead and pay Mike Walsh's invoice for $198.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Okay. End of discussion.
Thank you.
Now we're on the topic. Has anybody heard anything about that from the
I know we reached out
From
to
the
insurance.
insurance?
Did we reach out to insurance on that one? We did reach out to insurance.
Yes. That one I will have to double check on.
Your microphone's off.
Huh?
What? Your microphone's off.
Oh.
Well, it's not picking your voice up.
Batteries are probably dead again. They die like twice a week.
Okay.
They die daily.
So you haven't checked with them in the past week or so on insurance?
The only one I heard about was the fire suppression box, but I will double check on the Bricktown Hall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, 2 computers for the town clerk, tax collector's office. What's that all about?
Yeah, so 2 of the computers that are in the town clerk tax collector office are starting to not work properly. And they've been there for a while. So the town clerk and tax collector are just asking for the board to approve for them to get in contact with Chris to get 2 new ones ordered.
I would say get in touch with Chris, get some specs on it, and find out what it's gonna cost.
I would second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
I will let them know tomorrow.
Okay, next item. Got an email, I think it was today, about the town beach. Seems that we got a bunch of geese down there that like to just crap all over the place, and this person was concerned about disease and everything else. I haven't been down there to look at it. I can't imagine what that crap looks like down there, but
I know in the past, it's been an issue in the past. I mean, if nobody's there, the geese are gonna go up there and go to the bathroom. I don't know what there is for us to do about it. While I was down there yesterday, the buoys are still not out. And,
last time I knew Audrey was looking for somebody to, with a boat to get her out there. And I don't know, I haven't seen the sense to ask her.
And I do know with the geese, because
Won't be
I've
too
dealt
long.
with it. Oops, sorry
Won't
about
be
that.
too long before we won't have to worry about buoys.
exactly, yeah.
I do know I dealt with the geese in Newfield and called the warden service, and they basically told me that there was nothing we could do about it.
Well, I'm concerned.
They have the right to
I'll
work
go
on
down there
that
during
beach.
bird
and-
season. Kidding,
Wait a minute, what?
nothing.
Well, they do have a right, pardon the expression, to go and shit where they want.
Hey, we can ask them to use the porta potty.
Yeah.
We can put some signs out on the grass, but
My concern is if you've got little kids and stuff down there, what have we got, what's our concerns for as far as bacteria and everything else? We're gonna have a mess. I think until we get that, depending on how bad it is down there, until we get that squared away, I'd say lock the gate.
I'll go down and look at it tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want me to lock the gate on the way home? It's on my way home.
Would you?
Yeah. If we want to, yeah.
I would.
Until we can figure it out, yeah.
Take your shotgun with you.
Now that we have a sign there.
Yeah, Wade, you take it with you.
Animal control. Eliminate them.
I think that's a felony.
Wait a minute, we do have.
Okay, next, we've already accepted a resignation. Any correspondence other than what we've talked about tonight?
No.
You're just full of surprises.
I know TV Land won't be happy with me, but I know 2 codes in this building, and now I've resigned my position on anything, and those codes should be changed. One is the treasurer's office, and one is this room here. I don't care how many cameras you got in this place, that you can see me, or anyone, where I worked before, and before that, and before that. The moment I walk out the door, and even before the moment I walked out of the door, you're stripped of everything that allows you into a building, even though there's cameras watching you. So I think that that should be done. For my protection and the town's protection. Each time you change over, and Cheryl talked about this a week or 2 ago, it should be changed over anytime someone leaves.
Do we know how many codes can be entered into those locks?
If they're the same ones I had at my apartment building, I think up to 28. I think each person should have their own code.
That's what I'm thinking.
18 is the limit.
Okay. And not everybody needs access to every, like, my code, someone's stealing water. Borrowing water, not stealing. I'm gonna be on Facebook. I think like for the select board has access to that door, the select board door, this room, and I think the community room downstairs. There's 4. Oh, well, we're already out, never mind.
I mean, because the point of the key code is to
That's
protect
5.
the property of the town.
Yeah.
It's going to put some people out and make some people unhappy, but I want to be happy myself. I want to be free of knowing that now everybody knows I have codes, you know, but it should be corrected.
Yep.
We need
Wendy, I
codes
saw
down
you in there
the
last
halls,
night.
too.
Huh?
I saw you in there last night, you were stealing the cash.
There's another one on the other
right.
side.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Right after we get to resignation.
That's right. That could happen. That's on Facebook now.
Would it be worth it to look into what it would take to just change the locks to key fob types?
I don't know if you want to go to that extent, but find out what you can do.
I don't think they're that expensive. That's why I was wondering.
So you would need, I did that at my apartment building, you would need the key fob, which, it's a great system. It's immediate shut off from an app 1,000 miles away.
Yep.
But for 6 community room doors and the main entrance to the building key fob system, it was around $35,000.
Never mind.
Just forget about it.
Yeah. I know that
I've got it on my house. It didn't cost me near that much.
Someone's going to counter the statement with, well, I don't have a key to the door. Well, you don't know if I can pick locks or not, now do you?
saw it, she was on camera last night. But yes, I think it's a valid point, and I think we need to work to
Because you
do
don't
that.
know how many people in the past have, they may not remember the code, but I do, unfortunately.
But for your point, people that aren't gonna be happy, I think the community is gonna be more happy people knowing that their municipal building is more secure
Correct.
than the unhappy ones. So, the happy ones outweigh the unhappy ones, move on.
Yep. So yeah, I think we do need to work to get those changed, and
Joanne?
I would love to know how many people need access to,
Each room.
to know that if we could put in our own personal codes and,
Yeah, just before you go, Joanne, I know that you can have your own personal codes. I'm wondering if there's a way to wipe out everybody's codes and re-enter them.
Yep.
That way it's
Yeah.
safer.
Yes.
I can do some research tomorrow and look into that and see if we can wipe everybody's codes. I know it's gonna be a pain, and I apologize to everybody now, but it'll be a safer bet to do it that way.
yep, I'm pretty sure we're in agreement on that one. You know what, you're not on the budget committee anymore, so
Joanne?
I'm a citizen now. I'm more
All
power.
right, all right.
there is that.
We've kicked this down the road for several years. I would like to see this board do something and divide the treasurer's office from the secretary's office.
The
It's
admin.
very easy to do, very easy to do. There's no reason why, because I have access to Courtney's office, and I'm
think
not
everybody
comfortable
does with
having
printing.
access to the treasurer's office. I never have. I need access to Courtney's office, either that or buy everybody a big copier. That's the only reason that I go in there is because of the copier. But I have access to this room, the community room, and that office.
Okay.
That's the only access that I have.
Yeah, I think it would be, is it working? Is the mic working?
Yeah.
Okay.
But think about just putting up a barrier. I think
it would be, like Joanne said, very easy to put up partition or something that would block off my office and the treasurer's, because there is a way for people to get into my office because I have the bigger printer, so everybody has a code to my door. And then not everybody has a code to the treasurer's door, so I think it would be a lot safer to do that and to start looking into that. I can start making calls and
I can look into that tomorrow, because I built that whole area.
Why don't you close it off? You stopped short.
Just shut up.
That's professional.
Yeah, damn right. Okay, no other correspondence. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Second?
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
third, fourth.
Let's go home. Good night.